city, the little contents all agreed. And annotating is about the joy and not like the science. No, but that doesn't make sense. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Hello and welcome back to Matcha ASMR. I don't know where the title sequence is going to be because I can't see anything. It's been a while. I kind of just only come on here when I remember or when I feel like it. Because to be honest, I've been very, very busy and also low-key severely depressed. So, but I'm trying to do things that help me to not be depressed. This is part of it. I found a copy of the Goblet of Fire at the thrift store for $5. I think that is a fantastic deal. Also, oh my gosh, it's storming outside. Oh, also, I completely forgot to mention, I got a new fancy mic, and so now we have an actual ASMR mic. And so now I can do like different triggers because it comes with a foam cover. I'm using the foam cover right now, but I don't have to for other videos. But it is pouring actually, which is perfect ambiance for today. I already have a copy of the Goblet of Fire, but I got this one because it was $5, and I decided that since this is my favorite book, I think, at least, or one of my favorite books, because it's between one of the Deathly Hallows, but this is at least my second favorite. I want to have a copy unannotated and one copy annotated. I thought that'd be really cute. And so today we're going to do some annotating of Harry Potter. I almost said it wrong. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So, let's get started, shall we? And also, I do live with roommates, so if you hear people in the background, those are my roommates. We've got a cauldron ready. I found this at Walmart for $5. I think that's fantastic. Oh, also, I'm mainly going to be using this pen I got at Five Below. It's a strawberry shortcake pen. It says that the ink smells like strawberries, and it kind of does a little bit, but not enough. Like, not, if they didn't say it didn't, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, it smells like strawberries. You know, like, it was kind of disappointing, but it's there a little bit. But it had so many colors, so I figured this would be perfect for annotating my Harry Potter book, because it also has like Harry Potter color palette. Also, if you are ever reading books near candlelight, please practice fire safety because books are very flammable. Okay, now we shall get started. I don't know how long I'm gonna go, but we'll see. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. And yes, I'm going to do it in a British accent again, because why would you not read the Harry Potter books in a British accent? And I'm still going to read the first one, The Sorcerer's Stone, but that one I'm just going to read. I'm not going to annotate, and I kind of wanted to start annotating, so the next video will probably be reading, continuing The Sorcerer's Stone. Okay. To Peter Rowling, in memory of Mr. Ridley, and to Susan Slayton, who helped Harry out of his cupboard. Watch like a fire happen in this video. No. Okay, these are the chapters. How many chapters are there? Because this is a loaded book. This is a thick gal. 26. Ooh, it's storming. 37. Okay, that is a lot of chapters. Also, when I'm done annotating the book, I kind of want to like go in and like add art to it. Like, I remember like in school, we would have this like, we did this one craft activity. I promise I'll get to the actual thing of the video that we're doing, but we would like pick out different like words, a page of book, a random page, and block out the rest and use those words to like create a sentence, or like, I don't know, do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know, I love book art. I think it's wonderful. Okay. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I don't know how much I'm gonna annotate, because I'm I'm new to annotating books, but I'm kind of just gonna do what comes to my heart, and I don't want to do too much. I'm just gonna, I don't know, I'm just gonna do what the spirits of, I don't know, are calling me to do. Okay. I'm gonna use this pen instead. The villagers of Little Hangleton still called it the Riddle House. Also, it's my roommate's birthday, and her sister's here, and they're dying. They're here, and they're in the kitchen, so that's the context. Not that you cared or needed to know that, but it is a birthday, so everyone say happy birthday to my roommate. The villagers of Little Hangleton still called it the Riddle House, even though it had been many years since the Riddle family had lived there. It stood on a hill overlooking the village, some of its windows boarded, tiles missing from its roof, and ivy spreading unchecked over its face. Once a fine-looking manor, and easily the largest and grandest building for miles around, the Riddle House was now damp, derelict. I've never seen that word before in my life. I'm going to... What color should we do for words that we've never seen? Because I don't want to be inconsistent. I want to pick a color now and keep that same color. Okay, let's just close my eyes and we'll pick one. We've picked... What is this? I can't even see. Purple. I can't even see. I should have had a piece of sticky note out so I can test the colors. But I do have sticky notes. I can get sticky note over here actually. Okay. Which one is this one? Don't look. Okay, ignore that. Oh, I almost started a fire. I can't even tell in this lighting. I think that's purple. I think purple's a good fit for words that I don't know and that I would like to learn because learning words are good. Stupid. I don't even know where it is. I want to do it in bubble. I might change my mind doing that in the future, but this pen looky sucks ass, but it's from Five Below, so. And it also has a million colors. The Riddle House was now damp, derelict, and, excuse me, unoccupied. I don't know what's in my throat. The Little Hangletons. Let me underline that because that must be an important character. Now what should we do? Or maybe not an important character per se, but just people in the story. What is this? Peach? No, this is pink. No, I don't know. Oh my gosh, if it would... Oh my god, does this one not work? This one's pink, but I don't think the characters are pink. Characters are... should I do green or should I do brown? I think green. Make sure this is green. The villagers of... Oh! Little Hangleton. Oh my gosh, my hair's on the mic, I'm so sorry. Little Hangleton is a... Is that the... Is this the city? The city, the Little Hangletons all agreed. Okay. Oh, I think that's the city. I'm gonna underline it anyway. This one works much better than the purple. The Little Hangletons all agreed the old house was creepy. Half a century ago, something strange and horrible had happened there, something that the older inhabitants of the village still liked to discuss when topics for gossip were scarce. Scarce. Is that scarce or scarce? Oh, sorry, that was loud. Scare. Oh, it is scarce. I don't know why that didn't make sense to me. Okay. The story had been picked over so many times and had been embroidered in so many places that nobody was quite sure what the truth was anymore. Every version of the tale, however, started in the same place, 50 years before, at daybreak on a fine summer's morning. The story had been picked over, all agreed that the house was half a century ago, something strange and horrible happened there. That's an important tidbit. I'm going to, for some part of the plot, I feel like the plot screams brown to me, but I don't even think this is brown. Oh, it is brown, but that's too close to purple. Purple, it doesn't matter because I'm underlining. Little Arrogance. half a century ago. That's kind of like the start to the plot. I don't know, I'm just winging it. Just doing whatever. Maybe I'll like go back and add stuff or whatever, but and annotating is about the joy and not like the science. No, but that doesn't make sense. 50 years before. That's an important note also. Hopefully this is brown. 50 years before. That's technically like timeline and not plot. Well, I don't know, I'm gonna like that's part of the plot. At daybreak on a fine summer's morning, when the Riddle House had still been well kept and impressive, a maid had entered the drawing room to find all 3 riddles dead. Now that's important. Oh, this book is so damn thick though, it's hard to... Okay, this is gonna be a lot more difficult than I thought. Okay, we're gonna shift a little bit. All 3 riddles. Oh, like Tom Riddle, like his family. Okay. Dead. Should I put dead in a box? I'm gonna put dead in a box, just because I feel like it. Okay. Hopefully you can still see the book. The maid had run screaming down the hill into the village and roused as many people as she could. Lying there with their eyes wide open, cold as ice, still in their dinner things. The police were summoned, and the whole of Little Hangleton had seethed with shocked curiosity and ill-disguised excitement. Ooh, spooky thunder. It's like a sound effect machine for the book. The riddles that they had been most unpopular. Oh, sorry. Nobody wasted their breath pretending to feel very sad about the riddles that they had been most unpopular. Elderly Mr. and Mrs. Riddle had been rich, snobbish, and rude, and their grown-up son, Tom Voldemort, had been, if anything, worse. All the villagers cared about was the identity of their murderer, for plainly 3 apparently healthy people did not all drop dead of natural causes on the same night. Okay, I don't remember any of this actually. Like they didn't see. That's the thing. Like once you get further into the storyline, like the books have so much more to it in the movies. Like they can't put all of it in, and they leave out so many good parts. Okay, so elderly. Character. What did we decide on character? Green, right? Oh, that was Little Hangleton is not a character, but that's okay. We'll do character traits and such. There's 2 greens? I guess there's 2 green. Oh. Oh wait, this is blue. That's blue. Okay, no, this is blue. What the hell? Is there 2 blue? Okay, so there's 2. Where's the green? Oh, this is the... Okay, that makes no sense because this looks like... Color theory. No, this... They must have mixed it up. Or they're both blue. Okay, so if these are both blue, where's green? Did I not? Okay, well, it's gonna have to be... Oh, it's right. These look too similar. That's not even... That's the same thing. What is going on? There's gotta be a green. Is this green? I think it's green. Oh, this is green. Whatever I have. Okay, this is green. But, okay. This color theory thing is really freaking me out. Okay. Elderly Mr. and Mrs. Riddle had been rich, snobbish. I'm gonna box those characteristics. Snobbish and rude. So I'm confused. Oh, I'm confused but not confused. Nobody wasted their breath. I'm going to underline that because I feel like it adds to their character arc. Or Sometimes I just be saying words, and you're just gonna have to go with it. I also live near a place where there's bars, so there will be people you hear out the window. I apologize for that. Okay, now if my hair wouldn't get on the mic, that'd be awesome. The hanged man, the village pub, did a roaring trade that night. The whole village seemed to have turned out to discuss the murders. They were rewarded for leaving their firesides when the riddle's cook arrived dramatically in their midst and announced to the suddenly silent pub that a man called Frank Bryce had just been arrested. See, I don't even know who that is, and I watched all the movies and I read the books, but I read this a long time ago, so I forgot. Okay, now Frank Bryce, that is important. And where is green? This one is green, right? Wrong, that would be blue because it looks like green. I have to do the one that looks like. Oh, no, don't turn off. I can't turn my laptop off. Okay. I have to do the one that looks like blue because that one is actually green, which makes absolutely 0 sense, but whatever. Okay, Frank Bryce, that is an important character, I feel like. Or maybe he's not, I just don't remember him and I want to know more characters. What's good about them not including all the story though is that you get to still, if you still know, like if you read the books, you still get to like meet some of the characters that play important roles in the story. You get to cast them yourself, so like you get to envision like what actor or actress would play them in the movie, and you never could, but like because you get to choose that because they're not in the movie, so like you get to imagine it, you know what I mean? Frank Bryce had just been arrested. Frank, cried several people. Never. Frank Bryce was the riddle's gardener. A clue. I keep checking just in case I'm using blue, but not that it really matters. He lived alone in a run-down cottage on the grounds of the Riddle House. Frank had come back from the war with a very stiff leg and a great dislike of crowds and loud noises, and had been working for the riddles ever since. So this whole paragraph describes him, so I'm going to... Oh, I'm gonna do little squiggles. Maybe squiggles aren't the most Harry Potter themed thing, but actually they are the most because it's almost the shape of the lightning bolt. And I'm gonna do a little arrow because this is all about Frank Bryce, but I didn't want to like underline all of it. There was a rush to buy the cooked drinks and hear more details. Always thought he was odd, she told the eagerly listening villagers after her fourth sherry. What is a sherry? That's so interesting. I want to know, like a sherry. Oh, I'm assuming a sherry temple. No, that's Shirley. Oh my god. Unfriendly, like. How do you say that? Unfriendly, like. I'm sure if I've offered him a cuppa once, I've offered. Oh my god, I don't know how to read. I'm so sorry. I'm sure if I've offered him a cuppa once, I've offered it 100 times. Never wanted to mix, he didn't. Hard now, said a woman at the bar. Oh my god, do I have like something wrong with me? He had hard war, Frank. He likes the quiet life. That's no reason to. Who else had a key to the back door then? Barked the cook. He likes a quiet life. Or he likes the quiet life. I'm not really underlining these very well, but that's okay. Or maybe I should do this in an accent actually. Well, who else had a key to the back door then? Barked the cook. There's been a spare key hanging in the gardener's cottage far back as I can remember. Nobody forced the door last night. No broken windows. All Frank had to do was creep up to the big house while we was all sleeping. The villagers exchanged dark looks. I always thought he had a nasty look about him, right enough. Oh, that's a man. And he grunted it. I always thought he had a nasty look about him, right enough, grunted a man at the bar. What turned him funny, if you ask me, said the landlord. Wait, is this a woman? Told you I wouldn't like to get on the wrong side of Frank, didn't I, Dot? Said an excited woman in the corner. Horrible temper, said Dot, nodding fervently. That's a fun word. I love that word. Fervently. Now we have this. I'm going to put that in a little cloud. Maybe I can write the fun word at the beginning of the book when I'm all done. I remember when he was a kid, by the following morning, hardly anyone in Little Hangleton doubted that Frank Price had killed the Riddles. My roommate just flushed the toilet. So everyone thinks that it's Frank Price. Important plot. Hardly anyone in Little Hangleton. That's cute, I love that brown. It's chocolate brown, not poop brown, it's chocolate brown. But over in the neighbouring town of Great Hangleton, in the dark and dingy police station, Frank was stubbornly repeating again and again that he was innocent, and that the only person he had seen in the house on that day of the Riddles' deaths had been a teenage boy, a stranger, dark-haired and pale. Nobody else in the village had seen any such boy, and the police were quite sure that Frank had invented him. Then, just when things were looking very serious for Frank, the report on the Riddles' bodies came back and changed everything. Actually, my roommate's taken a shower. I've got to have a sip of my Harry Potter Dr. Pepper. My Harry Potter Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero. Okay. The police had never read an odd report. I have to break it. A team of doctors had examined the bodies and had concluded that none of the Riddles had been poisoned, stabbed, shot, strangled, suffocated, or, as far as they could tell, harmed at all. In fact, the report continued in a tone of unmistakable bewilderment. The Riddles all appeared to be in perfect health, apart from the fact that they were all dead. The doctors did note, as though determined to find something wrong with the bodies, that each of the Riddles had a look of terror upon his or her face, or their face, thank you very much. But as the frustrated police said, whoever heard of 3 people being frightened to death? That would be me if I was in FNAF, if I was in Five Nights at Freddy's. I would be frightened to death because animatronics are actually genuinely, and seriously, my worst fear. All of them. So, Five Nights at Freddy's is, quite frankly, my actual worst nightmare. So, in that situation, I'd be frightened to death, me personally. Oh, important plot. They ate the Riddles. Oh wait, well, where did it say that? The Riddles all appeared to be in perfect health. Oh, this is so a lot harder to annotate than I thought because this book is like a fucking brick. Oh my gosh, am I allowed to say that word? Hopefully. I mean, I'm whispering it. It's fine. I have to do this. I can't do a straight line because the other one was in a straight line. Oh, that looks like shit. Literally. Whoever heard of 3 people being frightened to death? As there were no proof that the Riddles had been murdered at all, the police were forced to let Frank go. The Riddles were buried in the little Hangleton churchyard, and their graves remained objects of curiosity for a while. To everyone's surprise, and amid a cloud of suspicion, Frank Bryce returned to his cottage on the grounds of the Riddle house. As far as I'm concerned, he killed them, and I don't care what the police say. Oh, I need to say it more in like her name is Dodge, so she seems more upbeat, or like high-pitched. As far as I'm concerned, he killed them, and I don't care what the police have to say, said Dot in the Hanged Man. And if he had any decency, he'd leave here, knowing as how he knows he did it. But Frank did not leave. He stayed to tend the garden for the next family who lived in the Riddle house, and then the next, for neither family stayed long. Perhaps it was partly because of Frank that the new owners said that there was a nasty feeling about the place, which, in the absence of inhabitants, started to fall into disrepair. Important part? Or just plot. Am I speaking too loud to the mic? I hope not. He stayed to tend the garden for the next family who lived in the Riddle house. And then the next... Okay. The wealthy man who owned the Riddle house these days neither lived near... Oh my goodness. The wealthy man who owned the Riddle house these days neither lived there nor put it to any use. They said in the village that he kept it for tax reasons, though nobody was very clear what these might be. The wealthy owner continued to pay Frank to do the gardening, however. Excuse me. Frank was nearing his 77th birthday now, very deaf, his bad legs stiffer than ever, but could he be pottering around the flower beds in fine weather? Oh, my goodness gracious. But could be seen pottering around the flower beds in fine weather, even though the weeds were starting to creep up on him, try as he might to suppress them. Weeds were not the only thing Frank had to contend with either. Oh my god, I don't know what's going on with me today. Weeds were not the only thing that Frank had to contend with today either. I'm just going to keep that. Boys from the village made a habit of throwing stones through the window of the Riddle house. They rode their bicycles over the lawns Frank worked so hard to keep smooth. That is rude. Once or twice they broke into the old house for a dare. Okay, I'm starting to remember this now. They knew that old Frank's devotion to the house and grounds amounted almost to an obsession, and it amused them to see him limping across the garden, brandishing his stick and yelling croakily at them. That is so sad and awful, but I found a new word. Where is it? Brandishing. I've never seen that word before. Brandishing. Frank, for his part, believed the boys tormented him because they, like their parents and grandparents, thought him a murderer. So when Frank awoke one night in August and saw something very odd up at the old house, now I remember, he merely assumed that the boys had gone one step further in their attempts to punish him. It was Frank's bad leg that woke him. It was paining him worse than ever in his old age. He got up and limped downstairs into the kitchen with the idea of refilling this hot water bottle to ease the stiffness in his knee. Okay, now I do remember this part that's brought to the plot. So when Frank awoke one night in August and saw something very odd up in the old house, he merely assumed that the boys had gone one step further in their attempts to punish him. I probably didn't need to underline the whole thing, but it's whatever. He got up and limped downstairs into the kitchen with the idea... Oh, I just read that part. I'm so sorry. This might not be as good as just reading it straight through. Let me know in the comments below. Standing at the sink, filling the kettle, he looked up at the riddle house and saw lights glimmering in its upper windows. Frank knew at once what was going on. The boys had broken into the house again, and judging by the flickering quality of the light, they had started a fire. Frank had no telephone, and in any case had deeply mistrusted the police ever since they had taken him in for questioning about the Riddle's deaths. He put down the kettle at once, hurried back upstairs as fast as his bad leg would allow, and was soon back in his kitchen, fully dressed and removing removing a rusty old key from its hook by the door. He picked up his walking stick, which was propped up against the wall, and set off into the night. He set off into the night. Oh my gosh. Set off into the night, into the night, into the night, into the night, into the night. Oh my goodness gracious, that was awful. Sorry about that. The front door of the Riddle house bore no sign of being forced, nor did any of the windows. Frank limped around to the back of the house until he reached a door almost completely hidden by ivy, took out the old key, put it into the lock, and opened the door noiselessly. He let himself into the cavernous kitchen. Now, I am familiar with the word cavernous, but I don't exactly know what it means entirely, so I'm going to cloud it. Oh my gosh, my roommates are in the kitchen. Frank had not entered it for many years. Nevertheless, although it was very dark, he remembered where the door into the hall was, and he groped his way toward it. See, now, why is that the word that they used for that sentence? He groped his way toward it, his nostrils full of the smell of decay, ears pricked for any sound of footstep or voices from overhead. He reached the hall, which was a little lighter, owning the large, mullioned windows. Fascinating. I've never heard of any of these words in my entire life. Mullioned. On either side of the front door, and started to climb the stairs, blessing the dust that lay thick upon the stone, because it muffled the sound of his feet and stick. On the landing, Frank turned right and saw at once where the intruders were. At the very end of the passage, a door stood ajar, and a flickering light shone through the gap, casting a long silver and gold, casting a long sliver of gold across the black floor. Frank edged closer and closer. Pause. What did he do? Sorry. Grasping his walking stick firmly. Several feet from the entrance, he was able to see a narrow slice of the room beyond. The fire, he now saw, had been lit in the grate. This surprised him. Then he stopped moving and listened intently, for a man's voice spoke within the room. It sounded timid and fearful. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this accent. Oh, this voice without making myself laugh. There is a little more in the bottle, my lord, if you are still hungry. That was bad. Later. I'm trying to do Voldemort. Later, said a second voice. Oh no, that wasn't Voldemort. That was someone else. Later. Oh my gosh, it's not that. Just later, said a second voice. This too belonged to a man, but it was strangely high pitched and. No, that was Voldemort. Dang it. Later, said a second voice. This too belonged to a man, but it was strangely high-pitched and cold as a sudden blast of icy wind. Something about that voice made the sparse hairs on the back of Frank's neck stand up. Move me closer to the fire, Wormtail. Okay, I feel like that was good. And now, feeling an emotion, I'm going to do an orange because it's close to brown. Something about that voice. Oh, did it run out of ink already? Frank turned his right ear towards the door, the better to hear. There came the clink of a bottle being put down upon some hard surface, and then the dull scraping noise of a heavy chair being dragged across the floor. Frank got a glimpse of a small man, his back towards the door, pushing the chair into place. He was wearing a long black cloak, and there was a ball badge on the back of his head. Then he went out of sight again.
"Where is Nagini?"
said the cold voice. I don't know, my lord," said the first voice nervously. "She set out—" "Oh, is that Wormtail?"
I don't know, my lord," said the first voice nervously. "She set out to explore the house, I think."
Oh, my laptop's doing a thing again.
"You will milk her before we retire, Wormtail."
"Milk her? What the hell does that mean?" said the second voice.
"I will need feeding in the night. The journey has tired me greatly."
Brow furrowed, Frank inclined his good ear still closer to the door, listening very hard. This is him at the door, so I'm going to just underline that part, because I don't need to underline that much. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. The vehicles down the street are always so incredibly, annoyingly loud. Oh, that's just a bus. There was a pause, and then the man called Wormtail spoke again.
"My lord, may I ask how long we are going to be staying here?" "A week," said the cold voice. "Perhaps longer. This place is moderately comfortable, and the plan cannot proceed yet. It would be foolish to act before the Quidditch World Cup is over."
Frank inserted a gnarled finger into his ear and rotated it. Owing, no doubt. What the hell? Owing? Am I reading that right? Owing, oh my god. Owing. Owing, no doubt, to a build-up of earwax. Gross. He had heard the word Quidditch, which was not a word at all. Oh, he's a muggle. We have to write that down. I'm going to put a star with in. Should I do it in yellow? Let's see if... Actually, I'm going to draw the star in black and colour it in a yellow. I'm going to do muggle in yellow, because I didn't notice, and it's so subtle. That's so cute. Okay.
"The Quidditch World Cup, my lord,"
said Wormtail. Frank dug his finger still more vigorously into his ear. "Forgive me, but I do not understand. Why should we wait until the end of the World Cup?"
"Because, fool, at this very moment wizards are pouring into the country from all over the world, and every meddler from the Ministry of Magic will be on duty, on the watch for signs of unusual activity, checking and double-checking identities. They will be obsessed with security, lest the muggles notice anything. So we wait."
Frank stopped trying to clear out his ear. He had distinctly heard the words Ministry of Magic, wizards, and muggles. Plainly, each of these expressions meant something secret, and Frank could think of only two sorts of people who would speak in code: spies and criminals. Frank tightened his hold on his walking stick once more and listened more closely.
"Your lordship is still determined, then?"
Wormtail said quietly.
"Certainly I am determined, Wormtail."
There was a note of menace in the cold voice now. A slight pause followed, and then Wormtail spoke, the words tumbling from him in a rush, as though he was forcing himself to say this before he lost his nerve.
"It could be done without Harry Potter, my lord."
Another pause, more protracted, and then,
"Without Harry Potter,"
breathed the second voice softly.
"I see. My lord, I do not say this out of concern for the boy, said Wormtail, his voice rising quickly. The boy is nothing to me, nothing at all. It is merely that if we were to use another witch or wizard, any wizard, the thing could be done so much more quickly. If you allowed me to leave you for a short while, you know that I can disguise myself most effectively. I could be back here in as little as 2 days with a suitable person. I could use another wizard, said the cold voice softly. That is true. My lord, it makes sense. I'm starting to lose the hang of Wormtail, said Wormtail, sounding thoroughly relieved now. Laying hands on Harry Potter would be so difficult. He is so well protected. And so you volunteer to go and fetch me a substitute? I wonder, perhaps the task of nursing me has become wearisome for you, Wormtail. Could the suggestion of abandoning the plan be nothing more than an attempt to desert me? My lord, I have no wish to leave you, none at all. Do not lie to me, hissed the second voice. I can always tell, Wormtail. You are regretting that you ever returned to me. I revolt you. I see you flinch when you look at me. Feel you shudder when you touch me. I'm really getting into it. This is actually kind of fun. No, my devotion to your lordship. Your devotion is nothing more than cowardice. You would not be here if you had anywhere else to go. How am I to survive without you, when I need feeding every few hours? Who is to milk Nagini?
Now, what I would like to know is, first of all, how that kind of hurt. Second of all, what does milking Nagini mean? Should I? Oh, I'm supposed to be annotating. So, I'm gonna annotate the feelings. Oh wait. Where's Brown? They will be obsessed with security. Break down this one pocket and listen closely. Your lord could certainly have determined what tale. There was a note of menace in the cold voice now. And the woman just spoke the words of an impression. It could be okay. This is kind of all just dialogue, it doesn't really matter. You know what, sometimes I don't need to, okay, I think this bit, it doesn't matter, I can like go back. I don't really know what to annotate.
But you seem so much stronger, my lord. Liar,
breathed the second voice.
I am no stronger, and a few days alone would be enough to rob me of the little health I have regained under your clumsy care. Silence!
Wormtail, who had been sputtering incoherently, fell silent at once. For a few seconds, Frank had heard nothing but the fire crackling. Then the second man spoke once more, in a whisper that was almost a hiss.
I have my reasons for using the boy, as I have already explained to you, and I will use no other. I have waited 13 years. A few more months will make no difference. As for the protection surrounding the boy, I believe my plan will be effective. Oh, my laptop is low battery. All that is needed is a little courage from you, Wormtail. Courage you will find, unless you wish to feel the full extent of Lord Voldemort's wrath. My lord, I must speak,
said Wormtail, panic in his voice now.
All through our journey I have gone over the plan in my head. My lord, Bertha Jorkins' disappearance will not go unnoticed for long, and if we proceed, if, whispered the second voice, if you follow the plan, Wormtail, the Ministry need never know that anyone else has died. You will do it quietly and without fuss. I only wish I could do it myself, but in my present condition. Come, Wormtail. One more death in our path to Harry Potter is clear.
That's important. I must annotate that. One more death and our path to Harry Potter is clear. Bertha Jorkins. Now, who is Bertha Jorkins? Did we decide green? I forgot again the characters. I'm sure she'll be mentioned soon, sooner or later in the book. Fun fact, I've been up for over 24 hours and I'm not going to tell you why. I am not asking you to do it alone. By that time, my faithful servant will have rejoined us. I am a faithful servant, said Wormtail. Am I too close to the mic? I hope not. The merest trace of sulness in his voice. Wormtail, I need somebody with brains, somebody whose loyalty has never wavered, and you, unfortunately, fulfill neither requirement. I found you, said Wormtail, and there was definitely a sulky edge to his voice now. I was the one who found you. I brought you Bertha Jorkins. Important. I'm actually, I think, going to box that one.
That is true, said the second man, sounding amused. A stroke of brilliance. I would not have thought it possible from you, Wormtail. Though, if truth be told, you were not aware how useful she would be when you caught her, were you? I thought she might be useful, my lord. Liar, said the second voice again, the cruel amusement more pronounced than ever. However, I do not deny that her information was invaluable. Without it, I could have never formed our plan. Important. Let's go in brown. Oh my gosh. Her information was invaluable. So invaluable, does that mean it is valuable or isn't? Because why would you say her information was valuable? Without it, I could never have formed our plan. And for that, you will have your reward, Wormtail. I will allow you to perform an essential task for me, one that many of my followers would give their right hands to perform. Oh my gosh, any word. Really, my lord? What? Wormtail sounded terrified again. Ah, Wormtail, you don't want me to spoil the surprise. Your part will come at the very end, but I promise you, you will have the honour of being just as useful as Bertha Jorkins. You... That was weird. Wormtail's voice suddenly sounded hoarse, as though his mouth had gone very dry. You are going to kill me too. Wormtail. I'm sorry, I can't take myself seriously when I do the Voldemort voice, said the cold voice silkily. That's a fun word. Why would I kill you? I killed Bertha because I had to. She was fit for nothing after my questioning. Quite useless. In any case, awkward questions would have been asked if she had gone back to the ministry with the news that she had met you on her holidays. Back to the ministry. So does that mean she works at the ministry? I'm going to squiggle that because I'm questioning that as in like, is that a hint or what? Wizards who are supposed to be dead would do well not to run into the Ministry of Magic, which is at Wayside Inns. Wormtail muttered something so quietly that Frank could not hear it, but it made the second man laugh, an entirely mirthless laugh, cold as his speech. How much percent do I have? Hopefully enough to finish this chapter. How many pages do we have? Oh, okay. Chapter keep going. We could have modified her memory, but memory charms can be broken by a powerful wizard. As I proved when I questioned her, it would be an insult to her memory not to use the information I extracted from her, Wormtail. Out in the corridor, Frank suddenly became aware
that the hand gripping his walking stick was slippery with sweat. Oh no. The man with the cold voice had killed the woman. He was talking about it without any kind of remorse, with amusement. He was dangerous, a madman, and he was planning more murders. This boy, Harry Potter, whoever he was in danger. Now that's fun. I'm actually going to box it, I think. Maybe I shouldn't have boxed it, but too late. I also have like colored pencils. I should have used that, but I kind of just wanted to use a pen right now. I can always go back in with the colored pencils. You ought to be beaten like a boy. Gentleman's quote, Smosh. I've been watching a lot of Smosh. You know what's a depression life hack? Severe depression life hack. Actually, this doesn't really help you get out of the depression. It kind of just helps you to be less depressed a little bit. It's to keep you sane a little bit. Watching your favorite show, and then once you're finished binge watching it, because of course you're going to binge watch it if you're severely depressed. What is it? Oh, watching the cast interviews of that show. I just finished rewatching all of Stranger Things in like 2 days, maybe 3, and that's at 4 seasons. So you do the math of how depressed I am, and it made me feel honestly so much better. And I was watching the cast, and I just like when you have a really good group of people, and like your favorite YouTubers too. Like when you have a really good group of people that make you laugh, like it really does help make you feel better. At least for me, laughter is the best medicine. Okay, now where were we? Frank knew what he must do. Now if ever was the time to go to the police. No, Frank, you can't do that. You're going... Frank, don't do that. He would creep out of his house and head straight for the telephone box in the village. But the cold voice was speaking again, and Frank remained where he was, frozen to the spot, listening with all his might.
One more murder, my faithful servant at Hogwarts. Harry Potter is as good as mine. Wormtail, it is decided. There will be no more argument, but quiet. I think I hear Nagini.
One more murder. Now that's big. That deserves a box in brown. And maybe like when I'm done annotating, I can like make it my own illustration book, and I can either add little illustrations or I can like print out pictures from the movie. I think it might be more special if I did my own illustrations. And the second man's voice changed. He started making noises such as Frank had never heard before. He was hissing and spitting without drawing breath. Frank thought he must be having some sort of fit or seizure. And then Frank heard movement behind him in the dark passageway. He turned to look and found himself paralyzed with fright. Something was slithering toward him along the dark corridor floor, and as it drew nearer to the sliver of firelight, he realized with a thrill of terror that it was a gigantic snake. Nagini. I'm not going to annotate that. At least 12 feet long. Horrified, transfixed, Frank stared at its undulating body, cut a wide, curving track through the thick dust on the floor, coming closer and closer. What was he to do? The only means of escape was into the room where 2 men sat plotting murder. Yet if he stayed where he was, the snake would surely kill him. But before he had made his decision, the snake was leveled with them, and then, incredibly, miraculously, it was passing. It was following the spitting, hissing. It was following the spitting, hissing noises made by the cold voice beyond the and in seconds the tip of its diamond-patterned tail had vanished through the gap. Nagini, Nagini. Oh, it's still brown. It was following the spitting, hissing noises. The snake was level with him. Okay, I kind of almost just crossed that out. There was sweat on Frank's forehead now, and the hand on the walking stick was trembling. Inside the room, the cold voice was continuing to hiss, and Frank was visited by a strange idea, an impossible idea. This man could talk to snakes. And he could. And I'm just going to squiggle that because I think that's a fun tidbit. Frank didn't understand what was going on. Oh, my microphone died, so, or my laptop died, so I guess even though it's at the very end of the chapter, I'm going to leave you on the teeniest bit of a cliffhanger, and we're going to end it here for tonight. Please have a restful night, sleep, and I will see you in the next video.